Previously on Soul Mechanics.
Welcome back, suckers, to reality checks for this week. Reality check, I'm sorry, I do it every time.
This one dude I've been watching, he says strugglers. He calls the audience strugglers.
Strugglers? That's pretty funny. I like that.
Suckers.
We all struggling, so what's up, strugglers? I'm gonna use it.
You just stole it. We're gonna address that dude too, because I love him. We're gonna do a video for him.
I don't know who that is.
Scott something. Well, I'll find him. We'll do a video about him soon. I promised him a video.
No, that's pretty funny though. But welcome back to, what should we call? Everybody?
Reality check.
This week's reality check, darlings.
Darling.
Darlings, hi darlings. That's pretty cute.
Especially for this video. So,
Suckers was good then. I think we'll just stick with that.
Good.
What's up, Suckers?
Suckers.
We're diving in, I guess, to something.
A disclaimer for the video that I had posted and then removed for anybody who had seen that. It would seem that we were too late on the move to try and catch the terminology in play and keep it from being entirely corrupted. You signed off on it. But no, it was just me acting alone on that one, officially.
In the very video that you showed me, you were like, this is just me, nobody else has anything to do with it. So don't be saying we, dude.
Yeah, but you're attached.
I didn't even watch the whole thing, so I don't know what kind of crazy shit you said.
But, yeah, no, I spoke to the term grooming way back in the day, you know, in olden times or what have you, not too long ago. In fact, the term grooming would have been used for the training or conditioning of a younger person, a young adult, or even children, for taking on a heritage, for like
a legacy.
Yeah, a legacy.
Like
a legacy. Ultimately, it would be like you know, families that owned property or ran a certain business would be grooming the younger people to take on that legacy, to take on that heritage.
Their progeny.
Basically, I spoke to that being essentially what spotters do with their students, is train them, condition them to carry on the legacy, to carry on the heritage. But upon further inspection of it, I decided to check in and found that, you know, the term grooming has seemingly been appropriated by the Urban Dictionary and no longer means anything of the sort. Now it's only, it is established as representing only pedophilia. So we're too late on that one. We lost that term. Good job,
But it also
peeps.
means washing your butt.
And hair.
So, I don't know. Words change, whatevs.
And it ultimately, grooming in the animal sense, in the realistic, instinctual sense, means to be taking care of the people around you. Like, look at how chimps groom each other. They pick each other clean. They clean
My
each other.
dad used to do that when we were little. As like a joke, he'd walk up behind me. Do you want to be?
See,
that's cute.
That's essentially, we've taken a term that ultimately, in reality, the value of it means to care for the presence and the well-being of another person in that way, to help clean them up, to take care of them.
Yeah,
and we've transformed it into this warped, disgusting, perverted term of just pedophilia. And just,
it's a fucking word, dude.
It's a word that's been corrupt. Language is our operating system, Cheeks. You can't just go around saying, it's just a word. Words matter. We've already established this in another video.
And it's a perfectly fine word to describe what is now is being used as a you know, the socially relevant term. People need to know what you're talking about, and you choose your words wisely.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I would like to think that most people would do.
It would seem the trend nowadays is to take every term and warp it, and this is directed. This is not an instance of coincidence that everybody just wants to suddenly be offended by everything. Everybody wants to turn everything into some criticism or you know, what's the word you used?
Like criticizing words.
What was the word you used before?
For what?
Just like a discrimination or
Oh, yeah. Phobia. I think people have kind of taken that word and use it a little bit differently. You know, it actually...
Well, that's with the transphobia
like
thing.
fear-based, but really I think
Phobia.
people are using it as meaning like a discriminatory thing now instead of actually like a fear response. Like, that's kind of evolved a little bit. But you can't stop that from happening. I mean, fucking words evolve.
Well, we can work on trying to rein it in and provide a certain measure of discipline insofar as goes how we are treating our own language and how people are misappropriating terms.
Though. I mean,
it's never happened like this before.
It always fucking happens.
It's been a long, long while since we've had some kind of a dramatic overhaul to our vocabulary.
Well, it happens a little bit at a time, and it only makes sense. You know, the words that we use are not the same as the words that like our parents used to describe things and to you know, express things. And even the same words, like I use words that my mom would use, but they mean totally different things. That happens every generation, right? That makes sense. Yeah, I think it does.
The words that our parents used didn't differ so much from the words their parents used, which didn't differ probably at all from the words that their parents used. There was change and evolution. I don't know. I don't think it's anything to be mad about. But suddenly our language is just like nobody knows what anything's supposed to mean anymore. It's something to be perturbed about. It's again, this is that Tower of Babel scenario taking.
That's what I was just gonna say.
We're being confused. We're being disoriented.
Dude, no. The important part is that people know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter which words you use. If you're getting your ideas across and your feelings across, then that's the only thing that matters. You know I'm right.
No, you're not. It matters because the words in play are attached to concepts that our brain understands. These things are being warped. The values attached to these words are being distorted and corrupted.
No, they're being changed.
In a almost purely negative and offensive way.
What's offensive about a word meaning something different now than it used to?
Okay. What happens when we have the next generation running around thinking that the word phobia means to be hateful and discriminative? In every sense. In any sense.
Eventually, I would imagine, after so many years, probably start changing the fucking dictionary, which I agree is fucking stupid when it comes to stuff like that, but a general term that describes many different things in different ways, I feel like that can be a little bit more fluid.
Okay, here's another one. Addressing this red hair girl, the pastel, the one that we didn't... by the way, we'll be indirectly addressing the YouTubers that I had addressed before. We'll likely still have the same thumbnail, and of course we'll still have the same title, because it's going to be a remake or a revamp, a re-edition of that episode. We're going to do it better. We're going to work on making it. We're going to work it. It's a waste of time. I mean, ultimately, I took down the video because it sucked. I didn't like it. I had fucked it up. I wasn't in the element, and I had to work. That was on day 2 of 3 double shifts I had to work. Or no, that was on the end of day 1 of 3 double shifts that I had to work. I knew I had 2 days ahead of me.
Shut up.
I was not in good shape, and I fucked it up. But ultimately, to reestablish it again, and a lot of this stuff that I might say in here might be sort of repeating some of the things I said in that video, so for the people that did watch it, I do apologize, but I mean, there were a lot of valid points there, values I wanted to get across that I still want to get across, so we will be addressing the primary issues regarding the YouTubers.
It's a remake!
We're going to be pulling a few more in, broadening our scope, our range on this. We're going to have more targets to shoot at here. But to reestablish our position, and now that I have my partner here with me, we can do this officially. Soul Mechanics, the channel, is initially an attachment to the Remnants of Tomorrow program, which was primarily a psychedelics-oriented, but ultimately an investigative group, which is an outlet of the Status Initiative, which is a faction of the greater worldwide network that is developing here. Thereby, by association, the network and or the initiative has acquired YouTube. So, for all of the major YouTubers that in fact represent YouTube, and you do in fact represent YouTube, even though you seem to think that you don't, for all of you and for the algorithmic programming in play, or whomever's running the show there, I don't think it's a person, I think it's a computer algorithm, but whatever the case, you all belong to us now.
Well, it's a collection, I think, of multiple computer algorithms. But on the point of representation, as you said, that the, you know, when you're scrolling through YouTube and just picking out whatever and going through, you know, everybody knows the YouTube rabbit hole. Something pops up on the side, and then you click that, and then something else is suggested, and it just keeps kind of going on like that. And you can get lost in those little, you know, YouTube K-holes or whatever, but representative of YouTube, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that. I guess to a certain extent, yes, but, like, we're just kind of representing ourselves more so than, like, representing YouTube, right?
Well, we're... YouTube,
I mean, we as, like, everybody
is essentially sort of representing us in a manner of speaking.
Right, it kind of goes all three ways.
We are the representatives of YouTube. This is something I want to make clear here, because we are going to be touching on the COPPA issue briefly here. Our dude Legal Eagle came out with his video explaining it in terms of the legalities involved, and so we have a little more insight in how that works that we can talk about. But and that's a very problematic scenario. There are a lot of issues with that. It seems somebody made a mistake here.
That needs to be like its own video, I think.
Yeah, it is going to be its own video. We're doing that. That's part of the investigation into why the shadow banning thing, the idea of shadow banning.
Connection.
Yeah,
but, I'd like to learn more about the COPPA thing before I kind of make any statements or opinions about it.
Right, so we're not going to give away all the little secrets that, in fact, I've discovered, but I am going to give away a few of the instances that really need to be watched out for as regards the COPPA thing. And for anybody watching who maybe, I don't know, somehow it slipped by them or they forgot, there is a deadline on the 10th to check in and get that shit handled via the YouTube studio.
Surveys and petitions all over the web.
The deadline for you know, marking your channel and or individual videos for or not for children is on the 10th. And there are petitions, there are things you can get to. We'll put a link to the Legal Eagle video so you guys can get to that, watch it. If you don't understand COPPA, he'll explain it, and there are links there to go to the FTC or was it the FTC and comment, you know, your opinion on the matter, what you think about it, to try and help change their minds and move things in a different direction.
It's a really complicated, messy, kind of wide-ranging thing that I think will have a lot of effects and then unintended consequences, probably like domino or ripple effects. So that's probably not, we're not going to hear the end of that whole thing come the 10th or whatever.
No,
you know,
but the
deadline,
10th is essentially the deadline wherein the new update for YouTube comes into effect, and it's requisite of YouTube essentially label your channel and or individual videos so people get on top of that. I mean, it may or may not affect you, but it may.
Yeah, I guess I feel like it would just be a good idea to have two kind of separate things. Like you were talking about earlier, YouTube Kids, which I downloaded to look at, and it's really small, and there's not that much stuff on it. If I got the right app, I don't even know what I was looking at, but why not just have, like, a YouTube that's just for kids, that's just an offshoot of the actual YouTube, not like a...
That's what it is.
Well, yeah, but it's like a shitty version that doesn't... I mean, millions and millions and hundreds of millions of videos on YouTube, and then YouTube Kids is like, I don't know, just like it's not even that many channels on there from what I saw. I don't think I put it on this tablet. I think I put it on the other tablet. But why not just have two separate things? If the concern is to stop kids from seeing,
we do, and
questionable
kids are not
stuff,
supposed to be able to are not supposed to be allowed to use YouTube unless, of course, their parents.
Is there like a thing
consent
when
to
you
it,
sign up, you
and
have
then-
to like
yeah.
you have to be 18 or older,
Yeah, you have to
or
put
whatever,
in your
16
you have
or
to
older?
register your birth date if you make a YouTube account.
Does it automatically then kind of curate out inappropriate content based on that age that you put in when you make an account or whatever?
Because there's not inappropriate content if you're not allowed to make an account under the age range, under 13. So
Is that like one of those like porn sites though, or when you find like a not safe for work video and it's like it has the little box before it lets you look at the thing that's like, are you 18 or older? And you just click yes, and then you can view the NSFW video or whatever.
But I mean, essentially, the idea is that kids can lie and come on YouTube, and then we have.
But there's no.
That's part of the problem with COPPA.
There's no regulation for that though. Kids can still lie if you pass some law.
No.
Or whatever it is, some bill.
And that's part of the problem. There is no regulation for that, and basically, if a channel is made aware that there are children viewing their videos, if they know that there are children watching their videos, then they're subject to this act, the legalities of this act. So.
It's really weird too because I use Instagram, I think, more often than I do the other social media apps. But I do have a Twitter account that I open occasionally. But I've heard many people talk about it. I think it's so funny that you can just flat out have anything you want on Twitter. Like there's like porn and stuff on Twitter, but Instagram like goes through hell or high water to make sure they get every nipple. Like, you know what I mean? Like there can't be a half of a nipple on Instagram.
Not porn on Twitter.
They're not so much worried about like white supremacists and stuff, but the nipples are very important on Instagram. And I think that, I think there is. I think you can show whatever the hell you want on Twitter. I'm pretty sure.
Twitter's like the battleground for YouTubers. I think I'm gonna get back into Twitter. I think Demi might have turned me off of Twitter by blocking me on it. I was traumatized.
Oh no.
So, the YouTubers that are going to be on the thumbnail, that's going to be Calvin, of course. It's going to be Odd Anime Girl. That's going to be that weird, awkward Inside the Actors Studio guy. And that's going to be
What?
the hippie
guy?
stoner smart-ass dipshit guy. And his channel is Unknown Archive. He's the one who did, in fact, actually go ahead and peak the boiling point there and actually put me in a state of being pissed off enough to go ahead and actually address the issue regarding Onision. Wherein all of these, to briefly recap the story as I had told it before, and Onision's this dude, for anybody who doesn't know, a lot of people don't know, actually, that I've spoken to.
Everybody knows.
No, there's a lot of people that I've
sick of
spoken to who have no idea who he is, so I had to explain
good,
it to them.
then they're lucky, and you should just let them live their lives.
I think it's kind of odd that we happen to stumble upon him at all, but, I mean, he's in the circle. See, he's part of the circle that we run in with the atheists and all of them. It's somehow he's involved with them. But it's because he came up making these, I guess he made this ridiculous banana video. You're going to see I'm going to use the same intro that I did before, and you're going to see the banana guy pop up. For anybody who doesn't know, that's Onision. He hit it big by making this banana video, or he's dancing as a banana, I guess. And he got real big on YouTube. I guess he was a career YouTuber. He made it like for 10 years he's been on YouTube. He's, from what I've heard, he's one of the older YouTuber, one of the like elder YouTubers, essentially this kid.
14 though.
Yeah, he is a kid. I mean, he's young enough. He's 20 something, or I think he's 20-something. He might be in his 30s. I don't know, but...
Wait a minute. He's 20-something, so he's been making videos for 10 years? When did he start making videos when he was fucking 12?
Yeah, I think he's like 30 now, but...
No idea.
Whatever the case, he's real big on YouTube. A lot of people were supporting him, and that's what we want to address here. A lot of people were supporting him. He had a fuck ton of subscribers. His channel was huge. Everybody loved him and even paid him.
On that note, I think the word support we should be using a little bit loosely, because it's kind of, you know, if he had this huge YouTube channel and tons of subscribers and was making all this money and a Patreon and blah, 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 and all these other things, then people are going to flock to that basically just to kind of leech off his viewers, not with the intent of maybe supporting him, but just trying to get some of that, you know, some of that fucking, some of that click juice, you know, on them.
Soul Mechanics deals with the actual happening reality of the scenario, wherein whether they like it or not, whether it's their intention or not, they are in fact effectively supporting him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying the intention might have just been, for most people, was to kind of leech off of that a little bit and make themselves more popular.
Of course, the intention matters, but as we said with, you know, the gender situation, whereas people may feel a certain way, but it's going to be your expression, it's going to be how you present yourself in the public view, that is the actual reality, how you are seen by others. You can have all the thoughts and feelings you want, and they're perfectly valid within the realm, within the scope of your own understanding.
Shit, you know, I mean, that has a lot to do with it when you're talking about how you're seen as, you know, what you're seen as by other people, but it's still
how you are, like, you have your own personal reality, your own personal space, but that's just it. That's just what it is. You're locked inside your own skull. Your isolated universe belongs to you and you alone. That's what is shared amidst the public. That's the actual reality, because this reality is built on relationships. This reality essentially is associations, it's reflections, it's relativity. So it's what you present that becomes real in the real world. Now, you may have your own reality, but I mean, as we've already been through in recent previous videos, you can't prove it's real, can you? Now, as insofar as regards our scientific understanding, I can prove that what you show to me is real, but I can't prove to me that you're real. So, it's tricky territory, for sure. However, or whatever the case, we have those 4 primary YouTubers, and then we have the girl, the pastel girl with the ginger hair. She is a beautiful young lady, intelligent. I think she should come to Cleveland and let me buy her a drink. But what was I saying about her? Oh yeah, she said that she said something. I forgot what the point was, but it was she had said that she doesn't address dramas and stuff. We just watched a video where she said that she doesn't address dramas.
Oh, that's the blonde girl with the curly hair.
She's got red hair.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's light.
I love that hair, lady.
I didn't watch
Come to Cleveland. I'll buy you several drinks.
No, that's probably
Take you out to dinner. I'll fucking serenade you on the beach. Rub your feet. Anyway. She said that she doesn't address dramas. She doesn't like to be.
Well, they all start out kind of saying that. Every single
but
video
she's made.
you ever
I guess
watched.
she's had to have made like 20 some videos about Onision. The other dude, the hippie stoner, he says that he's not a drama channel. He tries to avoid dramas. But I mean, outside of this cluster of videos that he got a big bump from making an Onision video attacking Onision, which, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and bet, guy, stoner, smart-ass guy, that you don't really know Onision directly or really have anything to do with him. Like, there's no relevance in your association to him whatsoever outside of YouTube. And that's what we were speaking on, the representation factor of how, you know, we effectively are the representatives of the YouTube conglomerate because we are the channel operators. YouTube is the platform that belongs to us. We run it, we maintain it, and people get paid off of it. You know, you make money off of it. A lot of you guys out there, you make money off of it. Anybody whose channel's monetized, you make something off of it. You get paid for doing this, just as YouTube gets paid for you doing it. You know, it's a mutually beneficial relationship that exists between you and the YouTube platform. But YouTube has like a YouTube creators channel to help give pointers. I watch that channel a lot. But aside from that, really, YouTube doesn't make its own videos.
Content, right.
It has started, it does run those shows, the YouTube Originals. Impulse is one of them, which people, you should watch that show. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's
I got cut off. I couldn't
thing,
watch
though.
it in the, I'm fucking cut off now from my streaming service halfway through the second season. Damn it. But, I mean, so yeah, YouTube is starting to branch off and make its own thing now, but for the most part, YouTube has always been YouTube. It's people posting videos. That's what makes YouTube happen. That's what YouTube is. So it's like people out there who are saying that YouTube's trying to fuck you or screw you over in some way. YouTube's lying to you. I mean, you are YouTube. So,
yeah, I mean, there's always like those conspiracy theory people with everything.
I can't believe I totally forgot what I was saying about the pastel girl, but she did say the thing about she's not attending drama, and then the stoner guy said he's not a drama channel. But
Yeah.
what you've done, sir, by pandering to this crowd that has, you know, he got a bump because he made the being hateful towards Onision video. Mind you, you were seriously spiteful and hateful and like really just like I'm sure that you have no direct immediate relationship to Onision, but you just wanted to go out of your way and got worse and worse.
But the emotional
pandering
response
to this
is
crowd.
still there when you think about shit that even if you have somebody that you know that's been through something like that or been taken advantage of or victimized, like that's going to elicit an emotional response.
Yeah, for sure. And
whatever.
But I mean, it's in many cases that doesn't really seem to be the case. It does seem to be just taking advantage of this.
There's thousands of people that have just kind of taken up this subject matter as their, full-time shit that they're talking about, just to kind of maybe to get a bump in their views or their subscribers or whatever it is.
Well,
but
here's the thing.
It's drama, like
the stoner guy, he was a fluke.
this is the biggest drama on YouTube right now, so obviously everyone's going to take part in it.
And I do want to say what I had initially assessed as a stoner unknown archive is his channel. We'll put the same links in here, even though we likely won't be using the same videos. I'll still put the same links, and I will direct anybody who happens to watch this video to go check out their channels and support them in whatever way you deem appropriate. But outside of this, his channel essentially was kind of useless. I mean, it was just all over the place. It was just stoner talk.
Ours is useless. I don't know. I just mean that you can't really gauge that.
I suppose if you want to laugh at a stoner guy,
There's
it's like
so many.
I'm saying that he was very ineffective, and his videos were just all over the place, and it didn't seem really like he even knew what his channel was supposed to be about, and essentially it's just a hippie stoner channel, I guess, so that's what it could be about. But he had made this video about Onision, and it got a big bump, and so what he did is start pandering to that and make another video and make another video and another video and another video about Onision, and then this one is titled my last Onision video. Then his next video is about Onision's wife, and it's like, dude, like,
everybody needs to dip their toe
you've
in
effectively
the drama.
You have permanently branded your channel a drama channel that attends to dramas and panders to dramas, and I tried to tell you to stop doing that. You know, he started posting these pictures making fun of Onision as like,
Because the guy's a
it's
psycho,
like,
yeah.
dude, you obviously you've already stated you don't want to be that guy.
But maybe
But now you're that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I think everybody's kind of taking part. All it takes is one search to, you know, just see pages and pages and pages of other people talking about it. And it's because it's easy fucking content. Like,
yeah, it's easy and it's
super
hooked into
easy
this
to
crowd.
show a clip of this guy essentially pulling a coat rack down over him while he's screaming, super staged.
Show him that one.
Fake
Show
as
him that
fuck.
fucking that idiot girl.
Oh God. I don't even.
This is an example of
the
what's
one
going on
view.
here. This is an example of what people are doing with this.
This chick, Munte.
Go back to
the
where,
very, very beginning.
Go back to the coat rack.
The coat rack thing in the very beginning of her video. There it is. She starts out by saying, "Hello, my angels," and she's got like the
beautiful
talking,
angel babies. I think she said.
They like totally voice, and just keeps doing like one of those and making duck lips as she's, you know, watching this video. But the very first thing she did was like, "Everybody look at my outfit." Like,
what a douchebag.
it was so weird.
Sorry, I'm gonna
like,
make fun of this one.
Like that's
what
the
a
first
fucking
thing.
douchebag.
That's the first thing, is that you like stand up and like do a twirl, and he's like, "No, he just did it." You get your finger.
I'm trying to do
You have robot fingers, and for some reason, it doesn't register on a touch screen. I don't know what is wrong. What is wrong with you? So she is Munte. Is reacting. I don't know. There's two U's. He's reacting to different Onision freakouts, meltdowns, whatever you want to call them, and just kind of laughing at him. But again, it's easy, and I can see why.
Yeah, but
People
I mean,
use
show
that.
how absurd this chick is.
They both are. So. Don't call McDonald's. Don't show up to McDonald's.
This is afterwards. Go back a little bit. This is after the coat rack.
No.
Imagine him trying to get a job.
No, this is before that.
No, that's remember he screamed about it and said, "Don't laugh at me," and then he said, "Don't call McDonald's." The coat rack was right before that.
Leadership.
Oh no. Please don't tweet at McDonald's.
No, but her video was seriously like before that.
I think it's funny. She's reacting to it or whatever, and she's awful. But it is hilarious. Like, that totally staged. Like, he puts his arm up on the coat rack, just kind of like,
I don't know
seemingly like a nonchalant, and then just like pulls it down over him and starts screaming.
And this is an instance where
it's very staged and very
What is he trying
sick.
to accomplish?
I don't know. I think you were right on where then he starts talking about applying to McDonald's, and he goes on to say, "Don't tweet McDonald's." That was beautiful. I read about him, years ago.
I mean, I'm just saying as a disclaimer, I didn't know about that. So
I've told you about it many
theories
times.
come from me and from her and from everyone else that I deal with. I just want to stake my claim on it. I didn't get it from somewhere else. I came up with that. But
Good for you.
That's where it comes from. Other people have attributed this, like the concept of value has actually been presented before on several occasions, most immediately to me by Robert Piercig with the Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is essentially what introduced me to the concept of value existing, and then from there were several other points that hit on it, values that came into play that eventually lined up and unlocked this schematic that I've been working with as regards building soul mechanics, or what was time mechanics before. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember
Well,
ever
the
looking into
influence
Carl Rogers, but the influence
comes
exists.
from all over, you know?
And of course, there's going to be the factor wherein we do have a collective consciousness, and you know, ideas tend to pop up in clusters all over the world.
The thing about the radio, right? Like, it was
Right.
invented right around the same time that, like, a bunch of different people tried to patent their idea for what's basically a radio at the very, around the same time
the
all
radio
over the
is
world.
a perfect analogy for what it is. It's like a radio broadcast in the collective psyche.
That's
But
funny.
at
It
the
just
same time,
emanates outward and kind of hits
that's
everybody in this
something
weird
we can talk about
spite
with
and this
values.
weird space.
Is that the values behind the values are going to emanate, just like she said. There's going to be like concentric patterns to it where values will have associative properties that are, you know, range in so many different ways, like analogies and just different considerations that are going to make sense. That this is one of the ways you can actually spot primary values, is that, you know, the actual happening is so difficult to explain.
It's the symbology of
the
thing.
symbolism of it will line up with the
It's like
actuality of it, will
all
line up with
signs
the
point
effect
to
of
blah
it.
blah blah. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's, you know, it's just a matter of
And
looking at things.
It'll resound in multiple ways.
Looking at things and going deeper than what they actually are, and looking through that and to see what they are for and what they stand for, not what something actually is, but what it is to you or what it means.
How are we recording at 109?
Because it's been an hour.
It usually clips at 33 minutes.
It did.
It did. Are you sure?
Yeah, it just starts, you know. It's cool though.
Alright, so I want to post this. Was what introduced me to Onision initially, is
Who is that?
this beautiful young lady.
Oh, is that the cute chick?
Yeah, Strange Aeons. She did a video
She's a cutie pie.
addressing, talking about Greg's music. Now, I want to note, well, we'll show the clip first.
Sensation for about a week now, and I am already diverting from my usual content of making fun of lesbians, it seems. But it's my channel, so I'm gonna do what I want. This is a video that nobody asked for. This video is completely unnecessary. It is almost as unnecessary as calling out 8-year-old clickbait from someone who will never give you the time of day. So since we are being completely ridiculous and unnecessary here, I am going to be reacting to Onision's original music. Not the many comedy and parody songs he's put out over the years, but the ones he's serious about.
Yeah.
Yes, those
So
are
how
his,
old is
and I
this
am
video?
Okay, it's 2017.
Okay, so
Now,
it's a couple years old.
Strange Aeons picks at Greg. She calls him as though she knows him personally. She is always picking on this dude, poking fun at him, making fun of everything he does, like severely critiquing his works in any way she can. And
Again, it's easy.
yeah, and she's awesome. Her channel is hilarious. I mean, she's got some junk material, madam, I'm sorry, but I mean, making the soup, the onion soup, to try and make fun of Onision, like, and I should say that she's been kind of obsessive with it, a fanatic, addressing Onision and following his work. But that's just it. It seems like she's even kind of a fan of his, though she's picking on him, making fun of him. Where it comes to this business with the you know, the allegations held against him, she hasn't addressed it at all. And madam, should you be watching, I find that to be very noble, that, you know.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, we shouldn't have to go out and outwardly express things that are obviously obvious, you know? I mean, just for the mere fact of protecting yourself. Like, yes, it goes without speaking that being a freaking predator and victimizing young women is bad. You don't really have to outright, you know, say that.
Right. But, I mean, I'm saying it seems like for all the prodding at him that she's done throughout the years, she actually, you know, cared about the dude to some extent. And
Maybe
now
they do know
she
each other, I don't
probably
know.
feels crappy having seen this and finding out that, and that's really what, on that video, that was like one of the first videos I stumbled upon on YouTube. It was one of the first videos I ever commented on, and the first fucking thing I did was call that dude out. I watched this music video, and this was years ago, that I saw. It was at least like 2 years ago that I saw this, and I called out. I said, that dude's a fucking pedophile. And like, he's super creepy. I think that dude's a pedophile. And I didn't call the psychopath thing until recently when I noticed the acts he's putting on. But the pedophile thing, that was an obvious spot. And I'm pretty sure that all of you guys could see it to some extent, but maybe you ignored it, let it slide, whatever the case. You continued to support him, promote him. You continue, as I stated, you paid him even after the fact just to use his content for your videos. Like, you guys, and you're still supporting him by continuing to make videos off of him, because ultimately he's not going to give a shit about anything other than the attention that he's getting.
Probably not.
And you guys are just swarming the carcass of what once was Onision,
It's
like fucking vultures.
There's no such thing as bad press kind of mentality,
exactly.
where it's like, no matter what, people are still talking about me.
And that's why you have serial killers who behave that way and out
get their
themselves
names on
for
the
the sake
news
of
and
getting their
shit.
names out there, because they're psychopaths, and that's what they care about, and that's what you're paying him. And that's why this video is essentially Soul Mechanics versus YouTube, because you guys all are representing YouTube, and you're humiliating me. As I said, this is our platform, and the initiative has acquired it. It's our territory now, and you're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing the entire platform.
You want to go through YouTube and find all the humiliating and embarrassing videos, because I'll see in about fucking 20 years.
No, it's not the humiliating and embarrassing videos. It's the behavior on part of the conglomerate faction, wherein we're gonna have just all the major YouTubers I come across jumping on this bandwagon and viciously attending to Onision's downfall, like I said, picking at his fucking carcass like vultures.
I wonder what would happen if just everyone stopped talking about him.
That would be the one. That'd be the thing to get him.
Because he probably, that would be like the last crazy straw for that dude, and he'd probably be in jail for the rest of his life if that happened.
And he may very well be in jail for the rest of his life as it stands. We need to really, as quick as we can, touch on the YouTubers that we've actually decided to address, because we're going way too long here. I mean, we can go like a couple hours or so, but we want to get this out of the fucking way for it, don't we? So we have Calvin. We're gonna touch on Calvin real quick.
Briefly.
He has a video talking about Onision's blatant transphobia.
But not a binary male. I've been getting a lot of people
That's his
which
wife.
includes tax fraud,
Onision's
being
wife
sued by
is
Washington State for
transitioning
destroying
to a man now.
wetlands, and the constant judgment that Onision is under for his rating of underage girls, incessant love for teenage girls, abuse towards his spouse, and also, if anything, wanting to tie up an 18-year-old girl in his basement because she smoked weed.
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess he did that. He's kind of a girl because she's...
Wrong Calvin.
You get a breast implant and it's not needed, then you're a freak. I prefer a person with breasts who doesn't have scar tissue all over their chest. I would not be satisfied with my spouse getting top surgery because, like I said, I do prefer the feminine form. My issue is when you take something that's unbroken, something that's in perfect condition, and you needlessly alter it. No, I don't support cutting up genitalia that's perfectly fine. I don't see the logic in cutting on yourself just because you have an identity. It's not like someone can just wave a wand and you're magically the other thing. If it were like that, I would support it, because then you wouldn't look like a science project. Science project. Yes, I said that.
Ooh, so edgy.
Hello everyone, my name is Calvin, and welcome back to my channel, where today I'm going to be making a video that, among all my videos, I truly feel is important to YouTube as a whole. I feel like a lot of the things I talk about are very opinionated videos, commentary type of videos, and they're important to me. They're important to the transgender community, as I am transgender, but I feel as though this video is important to everybody who uses YouTube as a platform, because it serves as another puzzle piece closer to finishing the puzzle that is the eradication of Gregory Avero, aka Onision, from this platform of YouTube. And although I believe in free speech for all, I think that when you've proven time and time again to do disgusting, misogynistic, transphobic things, you should pay a price. And although Onision is paying a price in life, which includes tax fraud, being sued by Washington State for destroying wetlands, and the constant judgment that Onision is under for his rating of underage girls, incessant love for teenage girls, abuse towards his spouse, and also, if anything,
Incessant
I'm learning
love
so much.
for teenage girls. No, the problem is incessant potential sexual abuses of teenage girls. It's perfectly okay for any man to love teenage girls. You're not allowed to, like, have sex with them. That's the point.
Or touch them.
But again, by association, now it's implied that if you care about, like, I have some students I know that are they're over 18, but I mean they're young enough, and I love them. I care for them deeply. I worry about them, but I'm not molesting them.
There's a distinction, bro. I think most rational people can make a distinction between caring about somebody and their well-being as a friend and molesting them.
You seem to think that most rational people fits with most people. No, most people are not rational.
I do. I think so. I think that the reason that it's called extreme is because it's extreme. There's extremists that are getting
broader and broader
portion.
and broader.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think so.
More and more people are becoming extreme.
I think there's just a skewed view seen through the lens of social media and the internet. I think that most people are just fucking here every day trying to live their lives and fucking feed their families.
Maybe.
I think that extremist is what it means, that it's a small portion.
But where I am, what I'm dealing with here is on the internet. I'm dealing with the internet people.
I know. That's what you see is the extremists are the majority, which is not reality.
I'm not speaking to the greater populace outside of the internet because they don't need to hear it. I'm speaking to the populace of the internet.
But I think you should be very clear. Anyways,
they're on the internet.
I didn't know the thing about the wetlands. That's pretty funny.
I don't know what that's talking about, but
if the very first part, the very first portion, and he pulled the clip of the guy saying, don't the scar tissue and don't cut up
honestly,
on something that's perfectly fine already. But, like, dude, if I wanted to get a fucking nose job, that's none of his business.
Right,
and
but
the same goes for anybody else.
I mean, honestly,
with any other kind of procedure. It's none of his business.
I don't necessarily disagree with him on it. I don't think that.
Yeah, but that's his personal opinion.
I don't think that surgery. It is, and it's his personal opinion, and that's what we're addressing with Calvin.
Just because Onision said I shouldn't get some kind of surgery, oh no, I can't now. No, that's not a real thing.
And again, amongst the myriad things that, Calvin, if you're watching, that you are dramatically incorrect about, one of which is the idea that because Onision has differing views, contesting or contradictory views to your community, particularly, again, Calvin Guerra is part of the actual transgender community, not what he would deem to be trenders, which I
love that term, by the way. Did he come up with that?
Well, he kind of coined it for his own channel, but it is that's what we were, that's what we were addressing as regards to kind of non-binary issues.
To be a distinction between people that are just kind of in this for the activism culture, being a part of this community, and being the fist in the air, and the fad, the people that just
they suffer from the what was it,
and people
the something
that are actually a part of the community,
like the victimization Olympics or something, whatever it was, but they suffer from what we've coined the activist complex, or the activism complex.
It kind of is a little bit, but there's also a lot of other aspects that go into it, and I think people that are kind of taken over by a fad type of movement are really young people, which is just unfortunate. But then I think people all young people kind of do that, and then they kind of grow out of it. Which I think is just a natural progression for human beings.
As Calvin will have addressed, and by the way, I'm appreciative of the video you did make about the 18-year-old or however, the younger person who got the surgery. Once you get these surgeries, once you have these hormone treatments for so long, it's not something that you can just grow out of. Once you get surgery, it's done. And that is a threat, but at the same time, this transgender community poses quite a measurable threat to the actual transgender community that I don't think you guys are really seeing.
By undercutting their credibility and their realness.
But more than that, they're essentially painting a target on them.
Yeah, they're kind of giving ammo to the other side a little bit.
Yeah, so that's something that I'd like to address via Calvin. That's why I wanted to address Calvin in the first place, and why, sir, I've already told you that I intend to make other videos challenging you in some regards, but that's not for this one. What is for this one is, as I was saying, one of the things that you're incorrect about would be suggesting that because Onision has contradictory perspectives to yours or to your communities, that he is thereby transphobic. I think you guys, you don't have a clue what that fucking word actually means or what it's meant to insinuate. And Sweetie Cheese can go ahead and say it doesn't matter, it's just a word. But no, there are concepts attached to that word.
No. I don't mean everyone. That's something that's being defined differently, and it's not an overreaching umbrella term to describe many different things. A phobia is a fear-based...
Yes, a phobia is being afraid of something, and more specifically...
No, not being afraid, but being so afraid that it causes psychological distress.
It's a built-in psychological anomaly that's conditioned into you via trauma, or you may be born with it.
Whatever the cause, that doesn't matter. But a phobia implies it's a mental illness.
It's a mental,
based around fear
an anomaly.
of
it's
something,
not necessarily an illness
that you can't fucking control. Something that you're so afraid of that it affects your daily life, and it kind of makes you behave in a way that you don't actually. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like people that have arachnophobia, like they, or what are some other phobias that are like true phobias that people, like certain people with OCD have that fear of stepping on cracks in the sidewalk or flipping light switches upside down. Mm-hmm. Like they for real have no idea why, but overwhelming feeling that like everyone's gonna die if I don't flip the light switch 8 times. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like, oh, it would be bad if I didn't flip the light switch. It's like, this is life or death. I have to flip the light switch. That's phobia. Right. And it's so much more than fear.
Just as is with what once was the viable term grooming, and thereby the associative context of being a mentor or caring for somebody, a younger person, you guys are just vastly misappropriating this term, and it's being appropriated. So now,
the definition of it is wrong. They're using it wrong.
Right. You have some phobia now, transphobia specifically, but
I'm sure there are some
transphobic
people.
You have this used to. It's established as being used to represent somebody who is discriminative or even in disagreement now. It's so much as somebody so much as disagrees with you, and it could be just you, just specifically you. They disagree with your views, you're transgender, thereby they're transphobic. That's pretty much the implication you guys are putting into play, and it's very damaging, it's very hazardous, and it's dangerous to just about any fucking buddy, because once you paint the label transphobic on somebody, then you have the entire transgender community, and thereby the SJWs and anybody who associates in any way with them, hating this person even so much as to the point of wanting to be offensive to, if not even damage that person. And so that thereby becomes a very dangerous thing to misappropriate these terms, doesn't it?
It's not these terms. It's I agree with you that it is not a good path to go down to start, just fucking taking over words and changing their definitions overnight. I feel like that's not a good thing to do, but I will concede. I think that there is a case to be made for words that evolve over a long period of time, namely kind of generational types of things, generational gaps, and there are words that are specific to a object or thing, and then there are other words that are just kind of over. I mean, some have multiple definitions, and so you pick out which definition you're using, and a rational person can discern what you're talking about.
Once you take a term and you corrupt it and break the value of it, then you can't pick out what you're using it for, because as is the case with the word grooming, you can't use that without it relating
prepare
to
or train someone for a
pedophilia.
particular purpose or activity.
Oh, you found it?
Prepare or train someone, and the example is, quote, star pupils who are groomed for higher things.
Oh.
But it also means the practice of keeping a neat and tidy appearance. The practice by an animal of cleaning its own or another animal's fur or skin. There's multiple definitions.
Then we may be able to save the term. I thought, because I pulled it up and all I saw was several fucking dictionaries defining it purely as being an act of pedophilia.
Yeah, that's one out of like 7 different fucking definitions for this word. It's not...
But that's what I got in my fucking search results. That was what a lot of other people are going to get in their search results.
That's what you wanted to see, bro.
Well, no, I wanted to see this so that I could be back. I might go ahead and repost the original video so that we don't have to go through all the fucking hogwash here. But yeah, let's get to the hippie guy just so we can cover that ground.
The turd pancake guy.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and yeah, let's watch some of the turd pancake video. I'll probably go ahead and repost the original video.
You can do whatever you want to do. I think that some words are more easily fluid than others. You know, you can't just shove a different word into, a definition that it has nothing to do with or that it's not related to. And then it's a different case to use a word that has multiple definitions in different ways according to the context. And I think you always have to consider context, especially when you're dealing with, like, hardcore issues that revolve around, people being hurt or harmed. What did you... Get out of here. You're hurting and harming me. You're grooming me. A 33-year-old woman.
So, my son...
Cool as fuck.
He's getting into Legos.
What's the name of this dude's channel?
Before you correct me, I'm
Unknown
still
Archive. We're not watching this
One of the
video.
things I discovered is they have a...
Well, whatever.
Hello, I'm some asshole on the internet. I did a video on what's going to happen to Onision.
Damn,
but this video is for Onision.
Jeez.
I'm going to let you in on some stuff that's going to be going down. You are going to go to jail. That is an absolute certainty. So you need to start getting stuff in order now. Specifically your finances, because the first thing they're going to do when they arrest you is ask you if you can afford a lawyer. I don't think in your current... So they're both in protective custody, along with... They might even take bets. They might just sit there and be like, oh, I got $20. He's going to go
Okay, so
home.
this dude goes on
fucking...
for a while telling this story of what he thinks is going to happen to Onision. He gets into very specific particulars as to what what will likely happen to Onision in prison. But it's just basically him trying to, like, scare Onision and at the same time making fun of him, which is just... I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally off, but it seems very... just it seems almost as though it's an act of defamation upon the platform of YouTube to have all of these people with their big deal channels, representative of the platform and of the community in general, just behaving like children in this regard. I'm gonna show actually what I had recorded for the original video.
Oh my god, that would be the greatest nickname for Onision. Turd Pancake. That's what they should call you when you get in there. Everybody's got a nickname at present. You know, there's gotta be a Billy Boy or a Cowboy or I don't know, something stupid. And everybody's got a nickname, and yours will be Turd Pancake. Oh my god, that would be the greatest nickname for
See, and he goes on, just kind of putting Onision down in this way, and it's like, yeah, it's funny, sure, but
it's kind of funny. But it's also just nonsense, just kind of blabbling.
Yeah, and
nonsense.
For this guy, that's essentially what you've associated to your channel now. You have effectively corrupted your channel in that way, wherein you're now the talking shit to Onision guy. You're no longer whomever you happen to be before that. You got such a huge boost by talking shit about Onision, and now you are the Onision shit-talking channel. And that's what you're going to have become. It's going to be very, very difficult to course correct that.
But that's on him. You can't change what people are doing.
No, well, I tried to warn him.
That's all you can do, I guess.
But, yeah, I'll probably go ahead and re-release the original video so we can just cover that ground. A brief disclaimer for that, for anybody who does watch it. It sucked. Like, I was not in great shape, and I kind of stammered and a lot, so...
Yeah, it's new.
But, fuck you. What? Fuck you! Stop laughing at me!
You forgot to throw a table over your head. You're laughing! You're laughing at me! That's a worse convincing tantrum than my 2-year-old gives me when she can't have, like, cookies or whatever. I gotta tell her, you know, it's way more effective if you throw coat racks over yourself and fall on the ground on purpose. What a good stunt man. Oh, that's funny. Alright, I'm kind of down a rabbit hole over here reading about different definitions of grooming. I found a whole book. So, prepare yourself.
Think what I'll do is I'll kind of make a part 1, part 2 sort of scenario. This one's going to release first, though, so I'll try to get clever with it, but I think we should fucking probably clip this because we've gone for an hour and a half. So, sorry to the audience, we didn't hit our target markers, our bullet points, but then
I think we did.
We also already covered that ground. We will have covered that ground in the future from the past.
Yeah,
we're time traveling in a big way.
Not being confusing at all.
Yeah, again, I fucked that video up. It was pretty bad, but I did get across what I wanted to, so that'll be addressing those fucking YouTubers, and I can put that back up. Anyways, got anything to say in closing, dear beloved sweetie too?
I think you're wrong about some stuff, and I think you're right about some stuff. Which is cool. Yeah, I think it's important for people to be able to, like, disagree and talk shit through without just craziness happening. But again, like I said, I think a majority of people are pretty rational you can talk to. I think the reason that we see crazy videos and weird shit from both sides is because they're extremists, but in the very nature of the word, it's a small portion.
Yeah. And this is a pretty serious issue, though, with this Onision character, but we do want to get that across. That he's likely a psychopath.
It's being thoroughly evaluated by hundreds of people. Yeah,
Chris
there's a bunch
Hansen is handling it. You don't need to.
There's a bunch of Chris Hansen videos.
It's really, it's fucking, we need to start working together, we all need to start coordinating in whatever way we can and eliminate divisions, stop dividing ourselves further. B, as regards YouTubers, we most certainly need to be working together. I mean, we can have our rivalries, our feuds, but when we're, you know, this unite against a common enemy sort of thing, it's valuable. It's workable. In fact, it might be the silver bullet we need to win the whole fucking war altogether. But when you're jumping on and attacking this dude who, for the most part, you had been supportive of up until you found out that, well, lo and behold, what was fucking blatantly obvious was actually happening. I mean,
you're saying things that you've already said, but the thing about everybody working together, I mean, that's where, you know, we, the royal we, are all on the YouTubes.
Right.
So it is...
And that's just the thing, is that we're representing...
coordination,
whomever
in
is
a
seen,
sense.
You guys are seen in a big way. You have vast reach, you know, and you're essentially representing the entirety of the platform to a certain extent. Altogether, you're certainly representing the entirety of the platform.
Representing yourself.
And thereby, by association, you are, by measure, representing us in some way, representing our conglomerate community, which I don't want to see it go downhill. I don't want to see everybody hating on fucking YouTube and hating the platform because it's just rife with
giant
shitheads.
Conspiracy, dud, and you know.
Well, I mean, if we start making fun of ourselves, you know, like these people are doing with these videos, like, you can do better, you know, than to just shit on some easy target.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For the sake of you can shit on everybody else who's shitting on people to garner views.
You just got clipped again.
Yeah. So, alright. That'll be that for tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you guys a solid, maybe not a promise, who knows what's gonna pop up in the future. Anything could happen. But for Abbas Lesiel, if he does happen to watch, yeah, we're gonna keep smoking and smoking and smoking. That dude actually commented on our video and said something about fucking and us getting him with nicotine or some such shit.
Oh, it was a funny joke, but
yeah.
But ultimately, that was kind of a, like anything else, it's a way to, you know, undercut someone's credibility.
Yeah, it was a surface veneer kind of making fun of us for smoking a lot instead of speaking to the actual issues that we had risen. Abbas Lesiel, where's your mind at?
But as we've kind of been over, it works.
Yeah, it does.
You know, it works. Even on a second grade school playground, it works. You undercut the credibility. That's
pretty funny.
Almost the most effective way.
Pretty funny.
To fuck somebody over or whatever.
That the great titan Abbas Lesiel had to try and undermine our credibility instead of addressing our issues. He's afraid of us.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think he's afraid of us. At the very least, he's certainly challenged by us. I'd love to see you get us directly. Hold a debate with us on whatever issues you'd like to raise, if you're open to it, if you're willing, if you're courageous enough. Anyways, what was I saying before that? Oh yeah. Provided something else doesn't, that's what made me think of it, is maybe somebody might address us regarding these videos and we might have a chance to respond to that, and of course we'll have to take it. But should it just be another week, you know, another average, ordinary week, we will make a very cool, funny, lighthearted video, comical
We're
video.
We're just going to be doing whippets for an hour. A very lightheaded video.
I have a video plotted for us. I've already given a kind of not a preview, but a sort of an advertisement of sorts to some of our group pages about this one. And so for those of you who have seen that, you know what's coming. For those who haven't, prepare to be surprised. We do have a cool comical bitchin' video lined up for you next time.
Got a lot done. I feel accomplished today.
Alright. Well, we love you guys. Kilo Salai, Terve Uni Siari, Namaste.
Good night. Probably getting paid by McDonald's.
Maybe, but I think ultimately, perhaps he's actually trying to provoke McDonald's, in the sense like, look, I can advertise for you.
Whatever.
He's got to be trying to make money. He's
Whatever.
in a fucked condition financially.
It's very staged, and I had never seen any of those like meltdown videos that he's done before, and so this was just really fun for me to discover that. And there's another one, I guess, of him like in the woods or something, but he's just like crying and screaming at the camera, and it's so obviously staged.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I want you, this is what I want you to see.
I hope to get a supervisor position as a vegetarian. It's going to be a bit conflicting for me. It says presently employed, obviously not for long, because I've been canceled. Have I ever worked at McDonald's before? No, but I worked at Chick-fil-A. It says, have you ever been convicted of a criminal offense?
You worked at Chick-fil-A? How?
Of course he worked at Chick-fil-A.
Not yet.
Am I legally entitled to work in Canada? It's a wrong application!
Screaming does not equal acting.
I want them to see this stupid fucking false reaction from
Oh my god,
people.
no.
How did I get the wrong application?
Because you're fucking
I'm
stupid.
going to America, and I'm going to go into an American.
The fact that he printed it out.
See, it's just, well, it's like he said something about like seeing his therapist. Like, I haven't seen my therapist today, and she's like, or ever. Like, it's just, it's her sitting there giving this
It's like
stupid crock comedy commentary, and it's the same thing that he's doing with the coat rack, pulling it over his head, making this fake content.
Oh,
She's
I see what
sitting
you
there
mean.
making
Yeah,
the same thing.
Weird, like fake shit.
And essentially, what she's doing there, Madame Muante, is mimicking him, just like he's mirroring what he thinks we want to see out of him.
Well, I mean, but that has become some people's actual jobs.
Right. And she probably makes
to
a
make
lot
a
of money
living
off
using this outlet and this tool that is YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in some cases it's their livelihood.
Right, but this is the reason why.
So it makes perfect sense that you would just eat up the easiest crap and do the easiest thing to get you the most clicks and the most subscribers. Of course.
This has become just such a phenomenon here with this, the way that people utilize this, and the way that people are, becoming more well accustomed to utilizing this in the way that she can just make this video and probably get a fuck ton of views and make money off of it, and it's so easy. But at the same time, this is what's killing our people's ability to have a fucking
actual conversations and
to
debates.
have actual conversations, to have any kind of a realistic sense of personality, to have a viable attention span, to just, it's dumbing us the fuck down. And we need to try and make people aware that this is happening, because that's really the only problem here, is you guys don't see this happening. Just like the thing with the word.
Most people are aware of it. It just...
Well, our people, actually, most of our people would be aware of it, the people who watch us. But that's the problem,
majority
is
of
that
people are, but...
we don't have such a grand reach. That's what, as I stated in the original video, I'll restate here, what we're trying to hit the Onision bandwagon here and hopefully bring in a larger audience by addressing this issue. But there are actual values that I'd like to address that nobody else, I haven't seen anybody else address.
I think you're mostly paying attention to the the people that are using
Yes, we're addressing
drama to get.
We're addressing the people who are addressing. We're addressing
channel.
the vultures, the horde. That's why it's labeled Spotter versus Horde, because we are addressing the way that, as I was saying with the story, Onision's this big fucking time YouTuber. He's got many people supporting him, regardless of what their intention is. They are succeeding in effectively supporting him
and making him more famous and more
they've
widely
paid
known
him.
and more well known.
There are YouTubers I've seen who are dressing him like he's a fucking piece of shit. They hate him, but they paid him to use it. They paid him for
to use his material, because he'll copyright hit
like
people
the thing,
and
like the Discord server where you have to pay $5 to get on the Discord server and essentially watch him play video games with underage girls. And his whole, everybody that's in the conversation with him are all underage girls. It's very creepy. I'm gonna put in a link to the video I'm talking about with this dude actually paid the $5 to get on the Discord server to watch this so he could record it and make a video out of it to try and boost his channel, which is even smaller than ours. So, sir, for you, it's a gamer channel. Here's us trying to help you get a bump. But, we want to be supportive. We really want to be supportive of the smaller channels. I guess it's kind of like a karma thing, because we do want our channel to expand. We want to get more views. We want to get a wider audience and reach more people. It's a matter of practicality.
The purpose of every YouTube channel.
We need to get our message across to people. It's an important message, and we want people to be aware of it. There's a lot you guys are just glossing over. You're missing, or like I was saying with the thing with the word. We already lost that term, and we lost the values that were associated, and it's a matter of implicative association.
There's just a different word to describe what you mean.
You're not
make it
and
any less
honestly,
valid.
I'm perturbed, in fact, that you seem to feel that way. I'm hoping you're just making a mistake in your glossary here, because you don't see how there's a value attached to that term that's now associated in the brain, that people are now going to, that's what I was saying. The pastel girl, she, in her video, speaks of how fucking terribly inappropriate it is for any, man of any certain age to be speaking to a younger girl, and how that's definitely unacceptable. And I even commented this to her on her channel. That's where I said, what is the meaning of the word grooming? The meaning of the term is to essentially be educating, or at least being of assistance to mentoring, essentially, any younger person. But no, because of the association, especially via this particular incident that's been made to that term and the effect.
No, that's not just because of this incident. This is.
I said especially because of this incident is hammering that shit home. This is putting a fucking nail in the coffin what was once already fucking dead. But it's not a matter of just this term, grooming, suddenly means pedophilia. No, it's now anybody, just like we watched that 50s video where it was encouraged for girls to try and find older men. Now, if you're an older man, you talk to a kid, you're outright already, you're grooming them, you're a pedophile. And that's even what he addresses in his videos. When Onision says if you talk to underage girls and you're grooming them, it's like it's
that's just that's a wide umbrella kind of feeling that people have now of just general paranoia about everything. Have you heard the weird the white van stuff? I just heard about this the other day, that I guess it turned into a thing on Facebook, where now it's like this mass hysteria regarding white vans, and the mayor of some city came out and was like, don't ever park near a white van, everybody. And there was apparently all the time just huge numbers of women getting abducted in white vans all over the country, but there was actually no reports of it happening. And it just popped up in a picture on Facebook one day, and some soccer mom shared it and was like, make sure you don't go near a white van or whatever, and then it just kind of snowball affected, I think.
And this is a perfect example, an instance of how applicable and effective and powerful you can be, how influential you can be with these social medias. Is you could have one video go viral and redefine people's understanding.
But there is no telling, there is no anticipating which thing will do that and which picture video thing will not.
We can't anticipate what the cause might be, but we can anticipate the effects for sure. There are forces at work. We could say that maybe there are people behind it, but ultimately, again, it's going to come back to that mental illness that humanity suffers from. It's this force at work that wants to divide us, that wants to isolate us, that wants to cut us off, destroy our relationships, that wants to fight to survive. As I said, I did, and you didn't see the Meaning of Life video. I talk about how the programming that we have in play, you know, that we're overcoming as a species is fighting to survive, like a parasite fighting for its life because it's afraid of being discarded. This force in play wants to separate us, it wants to divide us, it wants to keep us divided. It's the same programming that spurns forth from modern religions, may be responsible for modern religions, or modern religions may be responsible for it.
This has happened many times before in history. If you look at the different eras, this happened during the Cold War. People were building bunkers and stuff after World War II, and or in the 60s, I guess, like way after World War II. But people were building bunkers in their backyards and like doing fire drills. Yeah, the 60s. Doing like atomic bomb drills and stuff like that in school, little kids hiding under desks from nuclear weapons, and that was another thing. In 9/11, that was another kind of mass hysteria type paranoia thing, where after that there was a lot of things that changed in our society, and a lot of fear surrounding especially like airports and, you know, airplanes, which is understandable. I'm not saying that it's not, you know, well-placed paranoia, but it seems almost infectious, and it has a lasting effect on our behavior and the way that we conduct ourselves in society.
Well, one of the target areas it's going to want to hit, and this can come back to addressing the catalyst events, which I do promise we're going to get on finishing off the currency videos so we can move on to the next ones. The catalyst event videos, that's going to be, especially just generally speaking, the Principal Dynamics series is going to be a long time. It's going to be a long-running series, or a long-running course that, you know, we haven't even identified, really established what all of the catalyst events address yet, let alone how we're going to attend to them. But, you know, that we will finish off, we'll cap off the currency one, and we'll move on to the next one as quickly as we possibly can, of course, because it is a time-sensitive matter. But this is going to be one of those target markers. This is going to be one of those catalyst events wherein such ideas as grooming a student or a child talking, like I have a lot of friends, I'd say, that I know that are in high school, and some of them are younger girls, yeah, and I talk to them because I can assist them, because they have problems that I can help them with, and some of them, you know me via the groups and such, and they know they can come to me for help if they need to. Some of them have just stumbled upon, but in the eyes of such people as this pastel girl, I could easily be seen as grooming them, and in a sense I am, insofar as regards the actual term and what it was initially meant to represent. I'm helping them, I'm teaching them, I'm helping condition them to be stronger, more effective, more efficient, more excellent people in their own right.
So what's wrong with just using the term mentor? I mean, I don't see
because it doesn't matter anymore. I can say I'm going to mentor them, but this association is not with the term, Cheeks. It's with the concept. And using the term grooming is a way to get at that, to attach this concept to that. So now, grooming is associated with mentoring, and that's why people like this pastel girl now see any older man talking to any younger lady as being totally unacceptable. She says that in her channel. I would not think that that's acceptable. I'm not comfortable with that.
You have to say that kind of stuff so that nobody can come in and say, you know, how dare you? You think that, you know, pedophilia is great, because people jump to these like extremes.
Yeah.
If you fail to say something that is, you know, obviously very clear in a way that, like, we don't have to sit here and say, like, hey, just so everybody knows, we think that serial killers are bad, you know, like, it's that's kind of goes without speaking. And I think people jump to these conclusions, and I don't want to be, you know, one of those people that's like, oh, politically incorrect. I don't think that that's here nor there. But if you fail to clarify a very specific thing, then somebody can jump at you, accusing you of different things and saying, well, you don't care about this one issue. And people really love to play the but what about game when you're talking about really important issues, especially things that involve harm to, you know, others and that kind of stuff. That if you decide to speak on a certain issue, but what about this? And so it kind of negates your point wholly, and it's a manipulation on how to attack somebody's credibility. Mm-hmm. So you have to say very obvious, clear things.
And that's what is happening with the terminology.
But this woman that you're talking about in her everyday life will probably doesn't actually behave that way. She wouldn't just run up to a random dude that's having a conversation with a young woman and say, how dare you? You know it when you see it. It's that kind of thing. No, but
she's looking at it, and she's likely thinking that in every case. She's probably, unless she knows who they are and what relationship they have, she's likely thinking any older man is in some way, you know, predatorial to a younger girl.
That seems extremely extreme.
It is extreme, and it is happening.
Well, like I said, I think she's just saying it to be safe.
I don't think so. I think
her
she
narrative
thinks that this
so
is her, by the way.
Nobody can attack her credibility by saying, like, you know, oh, you think it's okay for fucking old dudes to talk to little girls? Like, you know, people fucking do that shit.
There are some people who do.
And I think as a matter of protecting yourself when you're on such a public forum as YouTube or social media or whatever, that people end up clarifying really obvious fucking shit just for the sake of protecting themselves. And I think that that's kind of fucking sad that people need to do that, or they feel that they need to do that. But in reality, they do need to do that.
Yeah, and he says that in his video, I've been canceled. I probably don't have a job on YouTube anymore because I've been canceled. But
I feel bad.
Okay, so in the original video, I didn't actually address her directly, but we're gonna go ahead and do it here, and we can give her the link. Of course, everybody gets the reality check in what they are involved. But here's the pastel bell.
A couple kids. So why, if your relationship is unstable and you have children, why would you want to bring in another person into that relationship? Another person means you need extra communication. There's just another layer of things that can go wrong, especially when you have children as well. Your children should always be your first priority. And introducing a poly situation to a house where there are children could be very, very weird. I just think that a poly situation needs to be addressed in the right way with children, and I don't think that Greg is capable of that. I think it will be unhealthy for the children to see that.
And, madam, should you actually be watching, there is a very good reason for you to be thinking that this character is incapable of that. And that would be the primary value to what I should like to speak as regards what I have to offer that I don't think anybody else has managed to put forth. Although I think a lot of people might be thinking it, I don't think, and some people have kind of spoken to it indirectly, but it's very few people I've actually come across in commentary and such that actually understand it. But I don't want to hit that marker without her here. So fucking asshole. Let's pause. Ages later, she returns. So, yeah, I was talking about how she said that she doesn't think Onision is capable of properly explaining a polyamorous situation, which even in the term poly, like just short-term poly, shorthand poly, like, I find that so strange.
That's a term. That's a thing.
I know, but that's kind of creepy, really, madam, that
There's
you
a lot
gotta
of
refer to.
polyamorous
It's just
people.
poly. It's just pan.
I don't. You can say the whole word. I'm not adverse to saying a couple extra syllables to be clear.
But there's a reason, as I stated just a moment ago, which was a while ago, a long, long time ago. There's a very good reason as to why you might be thinking that he's incapable of suggesting that. And this is something that I wanted to bring to bear as regards everybody who's out there talking about, well, Onision, just his meltdown videos are fake and he's just pulling off an act and putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is what he is doing.
Absolutely.
The reason being that he does not actually have any genuine capacity.
No, he's an absolute psychopath, yeah.
He is very likely genuinely suffering from psychopathy, in what case, for everybody who is jumping on this bandwagon to viciously attack the young man, the kid,
which can be excused.
The predator.
I would say.
By common standard, legally speaking, he is not to be considered responsible for his actions in the case that he is in fact a genuine psychopath. Now, all of this, just
insanity
disclaimer, this is alleged. We cannot say absolutely for certain that Onision / Greg Jackson is a psychopath.
Here, but yeah, in a court of law, the insanity plea means that you're too crazy to know right from wrong, or to know what you were doing.
Were I, and again, to address this as we have in other videos regarding other YouTubers, I've been fairly 100% spot on reading people so far. Standard diagnosis I would give this man from everything that I've seen of him, and I mean, this is, I couldn't have called the psychopath thing. I would say that he's very likely a genuine psychopath. For the people who are suggesting it or beating around the bush on it, it's really important that you kind of try to actually understand that, because it seems you guys are all regarding this man as though you would any other ordinary person, and that's very likely not the case.
Yeah, but again, like I said earlier, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but you get like a emotional response when dealing with things like this that are so just fucking wrong that I think it pisses people off, which I can understand. If I have a,
but at the same time,
I have a family. I think if somebody were, being like a creepy predator and victimizing my family, it would piss me the fuck off. And so just to empathize and to put yourself in that kind of situation, like, yeah, that's fucking makes me mad.
Okay, Ben, that's the other thing, is that people address him as though he's some kind of like a master manipulator, and that he's exactly, he's not. It's very likely that it's just his
he's
innate,
an amateur manipulator at best.
Behaving in this manipulative manner is just instinctual to him. It's the only way he really knows how to go about life, because again, he doesn't have any empathetic sense. But and for anybody who is suffering from psychopathy out there that might watch this, in the psychiatric field, we tend to regard psychopathy as being an irreversible condition, but I do not believe that. I do believe that it's curable. I
Electroshock.
believe around.
Woo!
I think that.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm of the firm belief that it can be.
Maybe managed. I think there's.
Well, it can be managed, but perhaps cured. I think that anything can be cured.
It's also on a scale, kind of. I think there's obviously more severe cases and less severe ones. It's definitely on a scale.
Should Onision actually watch this? I believe you can be cured, although, unfortunately, you cannot unfuck yourself.
Yeah.
And you're in pretty bad shape here. Sorry, dude, but I mean, and again, I'm gonna say sorry to him for various reasons. The first one being that he is not to be regarded as responsible for his actions by
He
law.
definitely seems like an extremely pitiful person that needs professional help.
Right, and what he feels he needs is this attention and this ability to manipulate people, which, as I was saying, you know, should you happen to ever run across an actual trained and trialed, mastered manipulator, chances are, unless they decide for you to, you will likely not ever know it.
Yep. Nope.
So,
takes a lot of practice to get there, though.
but in these cases where you do run across a mastered manipulator, it's very likely they're going to be manipulating the situation to your benefit, to your mutual gain.
Why do you say that?
Because in order to reach these levels, you do have to go through the burdens of life that will allot for you to develop strong empathetic sense. In fact, you have to have a strong empathetic sense in order to master this sort of a behavior. Psychopaths and such
in no way mean that somebody who is very good at manipulating other people are going to be doing it just to purely help those people.
There will be
Where does that
other
come
instances.
from?
I'm saying in most cases it's most likely, but yeah, of course there's fucking disturbing people out there. There are spotters who have gone renegade, who in fact decide to essentially kind of turn to the dark side. This is where to reiterate for anybody who hasn't been keeping up with the channel, the concept of Jedi is based on our traditions, and you know, there are people who do turn to the dark side, as it were. It happens. But for the most part, if you actually do reach a mastered level as regards the manipulation of people, the manipulation of the psyche, chances are you're a fairly scholarly, you know, empathetic, considerate, careful person. You have to be very careful.
Where that comes from. There's plenty of people that are dicks that are also very good at manipulating others.
They're not mastered. They're fucking amateur hour, just like this dipshit.
I don't think you can put that down in the numbers column. You know, the probability of somebody who's very good at manipulating. I don't think you could say it's
the reason
either way that they're going to be nice
you'd be thinking
or they're going to be
way,
assholes.
The reason that you'd be thinking that way is because the only manipulators you know of are the assholes, and that's because they're not good enough to get away with it.
I guess that makes sense.
People who are really pulling the strings, using what I've called this sort of techniques as spot casting and making it work, you know, actually manipulating spans of time for enormous sums of people, you know, groupings of people, maneuvering and directing entire communities without them even knowing it. These people, they will have gone through the trials of life that will have taught them to be a better person than to use people for their immediate short-sighted gains.
I guess I get what you mean. Because if people know that you're a manipulator, then you're probably a dick, but also you're not that good at it.
You probably got caught.
So I guess that makes sense.
You get caught because you're being a fucking asshole.
I guess that makes sense.
You're seeing, like, you're seeing not seeing the forest for the trees in that one. But and it's difficult even for me to say because it's tough. I've spotted a few here and there on YouTube, but it's tough even for me to spot them. If you get to that level, you're going to have a very good poker face. Like I said, if somebody wants you to know, like, I will flat out tell you guys what I'm doing because I want to teach this to you. I want to show you how it operates so you understand what's going on. But if I didn't do that, you'd never see a fucking move I made. And a lot of you don't see a lot of the moves I make. But you know, I can say for myself that I will more often than not be putting your gains ahead of my own, serving you even to my own detriment. And it's not, it is a matter of policy, but it's more a matter of practicality, and it's largely built off of the training and conditioning that I've had in life, by the people who have trained me that were, for the most part, often I have been trained by some kind of dark side factors, but they're most often great people who have, you know, good merits and ethics, but B, because of the conditioning I've been put forth or put through in my life that has hurt me, the damages I've suffered, the terrible things that I've been through that I don't want to see you guys go through, that I want to help you guys, you know, get through, hopefully without you even having to fucking see it coming, let alone go through any of it. Like, I mean, we want you guys to be moving fast, and we need for people to be moving faster. Again, it's all a measure of practicality. As I've stated before, any of the things that I'm doing to be helpful to other people, I am doing it for selfish reasons. It's a matter of practicality as regards the endeavor that we're involved with, and again, as I've stated so very many times earlier on in the channel, it's essentially because I want to be seen as a good, awesome, helpful person in the eyes of that special someone, wherever she is. Should she happen to be watching, that's what I want her to see of me. So it is selfish reasons behind my actions.
Well, that's like the oldest. It's almost like one of those ethical dilemmas that, you know, when you're in Psych 101 or whatever, like when you do something out of the goodness of your own heart to help other people, you still benefit from it because it makes you feel good.
Exactly.
So is it actually selfless?
And it
just keeps going back and forth forever.
I'd like to touch on.
Unanswerable.
We could touch on the concepts behind my meaning of life video, wherein essentially the gist of it was that what we should be doing as a practical measure for playing the game, or what I think we should like to be doing, is lining up our behaviors insofar as regards what we feel is practical, ethical, logical, with what feels good, to the point where what is logical to us, what is rational and ethical,
is also
what makes us feel good.
That's
And
called,
that came from you, where you said...
That's called congruence.
Is it?
Congruence. It was Carl Rogers. It's like the father of modern psychology. Came up with these, you know, basically...
Fuck him. I came up with this on my own.
No. This is like old-timey stuff, and he had a lot of great ideas, but one of the things that he wrote about was the difference between your real self and your ideal self. And how over here you have who you really are, your actual actions and behaviors and thoughts, and then who you kind of think of yourself as being, and the goal basically of life, or the goal in his respective, you know, therapeutic, you know, psychological training and treatment would be to get those two things to line up perfectly so that you are the person that you want to be.
That's actually even a better way of saying it is I think I've said this before, even maybe on the channel, is that I think a goal in the game, and what I feel to be perhaps not the meaning of life necessarily, but the purpose in living, essentially, is to line up, you know, who you think you are, or who you'd like to think of yourself as being, with who people actually see you as being.
That's exactly what it is, and it's called congruence. And that's one of the things that he goes right to.
I don't know about him, and I didn't see
I do know a lot about Carl
my shit
Rogers.
Is brand new from me.
Google it. Look into it. Hashtag look into it. Carl Rogers was a very smart man, but I think that was one of the first and foremost kind of purposes of any kind of treatment, is that when you come in contact with somebody that's suffering from, you know, psych disorders and different problems in their lives, that one of the first things that you want to knock off the table there is to try and get that incongruence closer and closer and closer to being congruent, so that you can live a more happy and fulfilled life. And I think it makes perfect